Live from the Vodafone Gigabit Broadband Studio in Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. Judge in Anna Creashiel case hands down sentence to boys convicted of her murder. A former patient from the mental health unit at University Hospital Waterford says the conditions there are not up to standard. The company that's proposing to build the world's largest offshore wind farm along the Waterford coast says it will consult with the community. And in sport, Ballygunner back on home soil this weekend as they continue their title defence in the Munster Club Senior Hurling Championship. Boy A has been handed a life sentence for the murder of Anna Creashiel, but the judge has ordered for a review to take place after 12 years. Boy B was sentenced to 15 years detention for his role in her murder, but his sentence will be reviewed in 8 years. Our courts correspondent Frank Graney has this report, which some listeners may find distressing.
Mr Justice Paul McDermott said the life of a deceased person can sometimes be deflected by the evidence during the course of a trial, but he began the delivery of his lengthy judgment today by reminding the court that Anna Creashiel's life was of supreme importance and central to this hearing. He told the boys they must bear responsibility for her murder and must now accept the consequences. The Children Act states that a period of detention for a child offender is a last resort, but he said it could not be avoided here. Such was the seriousness of what he described as the cold and callous murder of 14-year-old Anna at a derelict farmhouse in Lucan on May 14th last year. He said both boys showed no remorse for what they did and told them directly they must carry the guilt and shame of their involvement. He handed down a life sentence to boy A, but ordered for a review to take place after 12 years. He also handed down an 8-year concurrent period of detention for the aggravated sexual assault on Anna. His mother burst into tears and hugged her son after the sentences were handed down. Boy B was then sentenced to 15 years for Anna's murder, with a review to take place after 8 years. His father bowed and held his head in his hands after the sentence was passed. Frank Graney at the Central Criminal Court.
A former patient from the mental health unit at University Hospital Waterford says the conditions there are not up to standard. Yesterday, the Chief Officer of the South East Community Healthcare, Kate Killeen-White, told WLR News that the overcrowding situation that arose in the Department of Psychiatry over the bank holiday weekend was unacceptable. There were 54 patients in the 44-bed unit, with some sleeping on chairs on the floor. Shauna Aylward, who was a patient in the unit a few months ago, spoke to Damien Tiernan on Dayshoot Today.
I was given a men's extra large communal pyjamas to wear. I was made sleep on a chair with only a bed sheet over me. I was given no barricade. There was male patients walking up and down the corridors at night. I was very scared. I couldn't sleep. It's a 14-bed ward and there could be up to 24 patients at a time. The acute psych ward, because I had only just been out of an abusive relationship and I was very suicidal. I felt very low in myself and I didn't feel safe. But the conditions of the hospital aren't up to standard.
Shauna says she did not feel safe in the unit.
Male patients asked me to go into the bathrooms with them. I refused. I notified staff members about this. Eventually, said patient went to headbutt me in the smoking area. I was at this point very highly anxious. I was asking doctors, can I please go to the subacute? Instead, can I please be moved there? Because I felt my safety was at risk. I was getting threatened by other patients. It was very scary for me because I have high levels of anxiety.
The company that's proposing to build the world's largest offshore wind farm along the Waterford coast says it will consult with the community. Energia has applied for a site investigation licence to examine developing a wind farm 5 kilometres from the shore of Helvick Head. Waterford Sinn Féin councillor Conor McGuinness says there's a lot of concern amongst people living in the area.
The wind farm would be of unprecedented scale in the Irish context. It would have between 50 and 125 turbines. From the information that we have, it seems that these would be located a mere 5 kilometres from the coastline, 5 kilometres off Helvick Head. They would tower over the cliffs and tower over Helvick Head itself. The biggest concentration of wind farms in Europe is in the North Sea, off the coasts of England, Denmark, Germany and the Netherlands. And the general rule of thumb is that the turbines and the wind farms themselves are located somewhere between 40 and 120 kilometres offshore. So that's a considerable difference.
He says he hopes the consultation with the community won't be a paper-pushing exercise.
I would be keen that the consultation would happen at the soonest and earliest possible opportunity, and that would be a comprehensive and in-depth and full consultation, that the community in Unrein will get a close éisteachta or a good hearing, and that their concerns would be taken on board. And I'm particularly keen, given the survey work that's proposed, that fishing communities and fishing enterprises would be given a serious consideration, serious consultation to put their minds at ease about the potential impacts, not just of the development, which may be a number of years down the line if it goes ahead at all, but the survey work, which is more than likely going to take place, won't impact on their ability to catch fish and to make a living.
Waterford Fianna Fáil councillors asked for reassurances that the mortuary at University Hospital Waterford will be delivered as soon as possible. The unit was at the centre of controversy in April after 4 consultant pathologists revealed some dead bodies were left lying on trolleys due to the lack of storage facilities. Councillor Eddie Mulligan says over €5.5 million was approved for a new mortuary in June. However, the tenders received are all over budget.
The tenders have returned. They've all returned above budget, and are currently being reviewed. And I suppose what we now need to do is apply political pressure to ensure that the mortuary will go ahead, even though these tenders have returned above budget. I queried Grace on it, and her reply was that obviously building costs have risen. But certainly now we need Minister Harris to reassure us that despite these rise in building costs, that the mortuary will be delivered ASAP.
The President of Universal Society of Hinduism has urged Archbishop Eamon Martin to intervene to stop the Bishop of Waterford taking the opportunity of yoga from pupils. Bishop Fonzie wrote to 123 schools in the diocese declaring yoga was not suitable in a school setting. Hindu statesman Rajan Zaid said that by hinting a yoga ban, Bishop Cullinan was clearly doing a disservice to students and needed to be stopped. He urged Taoiseach Leo Varadkar to look into it as schools were publicly funded. Gardaí are investigating after a house was broken into in Tramore yesterday evening. It happened in the Marion Terrace area shortly after 6 p.m. The owner returned home and disturbed the intruders. Gardaí are appealing to anyone who noticed anything suspicious in the area to contact them on 051 391 620. The recently opened Meze in Tramore has been shortlisted in the Guild of Fine Foods annual Shop of the Year Awards. Meze Deli Shop specialises in Middle Eastern foods and is among those in the running to win the Specialist Food Shop category. Having had its written entry reviewed by a panel of industry experts, they'll now undergo 2 further rounds of judging, including an announced visit from one of the judges and a mystery shopper. Mayor of Waterford City and County John Pratt is to open a book of condolence so people can pay their respects to Gay Byrne. It'll be open in Waterford City and at the civic offices in Dungarvan following the death of the legendary broadcaster yesterday. He hosted the Late Late Show for 37 years and died after a long illness. His radio show came from the Three Swans pub in Tramore in 1993. Joe Duffy was the host in the pub with Gay Byrne in studio, and one local woman got to tell him how she felt about him.
Well, if they're standing by in Tramore and they're ready for us, then the best thing we can do is go over there, calling in Mr. Joseph Duffy in Tramore.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Am I right?
Yes, Tramore, the merrier gay this morning. You
were up all night practicing that, weren't you? You were up all night.
Gay, when I came down here 2 weeks ago, one woman begged me on her hands and knees to be able just to say, because she thinks Gay is a beautiful man. This is Maura Allen here.
Hi, Gay.
Hello, Maura.
I think you're gorgeous.
I'm not surprised, Maura.
Oh, I think you're absolutely divine.
What do you like about him, Maura? Like, is it
everything?
The grey hair, the
sparkling blue eyes.
Everything about it.
At least it's all me own.
Love the Late Late Show. Yeah, I've seen the receipt.
Yes. The Late Late Show, yeah.
And the radio every morning.
The radio every morning.
If you've nothing better to do, can we take a break now?
WLR Sport.
Ballygunner are back on home soil this weekend as they continue their title defence in the Munster Club Senior Hurling Championship. The Gunners started their provincial campaign with a 121-12 points win away to 6 Mile Bridge on Sunday. Limerick champions Patrick Sweller, the visitors to Walsh Park for a 1:45pm throw-in on Sunday afternoon. Gunners defender Barry Coughlin says it's an unbelievable setup to be part of at the moment.
It is, to be fair, yeah. It's brilliant. Like, you couldn't ask for any more. Everything you want is there, and you know the lads are so into it. Like, you know, they put so much hours into it. Like, so yeah, it's unbelievable.
WLR will broadcast the game thanks to George Corbett-Skoda with commentary team Tomas McCarthy and Owen Murphy. Liverpool and Chelsea can both take a major step towards last 16 qualification in the Champions League tonight. Holders Liverpool will look to make a back-to-back wins over Belgians Genk when the two meet at Anfield in Group E. Chelsea host Ajax at Stamford Bridge in Group H 2 weeks on from their 1-0 win in Amsterdam. Both games kick off at 8. One of the heroes from the successful Waterford FC under-19 side said they're still coming to terms with what they've achieved. The Young Blues were crowned National League champions following the recent 3-1 win over Galway United in the decider. Star striker Alex Phelan netted 40 goals this season for Gary Hunt's side. He says it's a brilliant feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of sinking in slowly but surely, but obviously it's a great achievement to have, and going forward it'll do us good. Coming to next year, even the experience that we had this year, to be able to go to big games and show up and just do what we do.
English Premiership club Saracens, who've won 3 of their last 4 European Champions Cups, have been handed a 35-point deduction and fined £5 million for salary cap irregularities. Saracens are the current Premiership and European champions, having beaten Leinster by 10 points in the final in May. They've now been slapped with this punishment after investment and property deals involving their owner Nigel Ray and star players such as Owen Farrell were investigated. West Waterford Golf Club's up for sale, with members hoping a buyer can be found who will maintain the course. It was developed by Pat and Nora Spratt in 1991 and has been in family hands ever since, with current touring professionals Seamus Power and Gary Hurley among the hundreds of junior members who learnt their golf on the Eddie Hackett course. It's on the market with an asking price of €1.5 million. Waterford Hockey Club are hoping Ireland's Olympic qualification will prove beneficial at a grassroots level. Shirley Moore says the victory over Canada on Sunday will be an inspiration to players on a local level.
Hopefully we can get more funding down into those areas where it will help to bring this sport on, and facilities as well. And if we want to develop an athlete that can play at international and compete with the other international teams.
That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is at